By the way, did you notice that when the king of Saudi Arabia died, Michelle went over there for the funeral and refused to wear a headdress? Obama bowed before him. And Michelle says, I'm not wearing a headdress. I don't care what their traditions are. I don't care what their laws are. I'm not doing it. Is there a little marriage tension going on? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, the Obama administration has made this sudden about face, made it a policy, we'll see how long it lasts, that they will not say the words Muslim terrorist or Islamic terrorism. They're just going to say that they're terrorists. Been a lot of questions asked, and their answers are pathetic. Why are they doing this? I believe that it's sinister, but let me give you some options. One option is that when the Muslim Brotherhood representative met with them recently, according to various news reports, they might have said to him, look, if you'll stop calling them Muslim terrorists, it'll be easier for us to condemn them, and it'll be easier for other Islamic nations to side with you in the battle against them. Because if they are Muslims, we are not allowed to fight them. A devout Muslim knows that he is not allowed to fight other devout Muslims. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is that the king of Jordan or the leadership of Saudi Arabia got to Obama's people and said, look, stop calling them Muslims. Because the more you say Muslim terrorist or Islamic terrorist, the more people around the world dislike Islam, dislike Muslims. And we're afraid of a backlash, and it would hurt innocent Muslims, and it'll hurt our relationship with you. I mean, if you really want us to help you fight these people, then stop calling them Muslim terrorists or Islamic terrorists. And so the leader of Jordan, the king of Jordan, said that this pilot died defending his religion. In other words, he was a moderate Muslim who died by saying, I won't participate in establishing Sharia law. I won't participate in trying to restore the caliph. So, whether it's to appease our so-called political allies who are enemies of freedom, the leaders of Saudi Arabia, really? These are enemies of justice and righteousness. Or whether it's to appease the Muslim Brotherhood, or whether it's some do-gooder inside of the Obama administration who's saying, look, 99% of all Muslims are peaceful, law-abiding people. Why paint them with the same brush by using the word Muslim or Islam, which is similar to what Obama said, remember? He said 99% of Muslims are good, law-abiding people. Well, I want to just pause for a second. Do you remember the size of the demonstrations in Pakistan when the cartoon crisis erupted the first time around? Do you remember? Throngs of people calling for the death of the cartoonists? This wasn't 1%. These were massive amounts of entire nations. And remember the PhD study that was done on the Palestinians who were asked the question whether the bombing of the Dolphinarium, which was a Jewish discotheque in which a lot of young Jewish boys and girls were killed, they were asked, is this an act of terror? And they said no. Didn't matter what age they were, didn't matter what their education was, didn't matter how much money they made. Didn't matter what their gender was. They said, over 80% of them said, no, it's not an act of terror. In other words, they thought it was an act of justice, an act of freedom fighting, not an act of terror. So the idea that 1% of Muslims have hijacked their religion and 99% of them don't agree is ludicrous. It's ludicrous based upon the study of the bombing at the Dolphinarium. It's ludicrous based upon baying for cartoonist blood from Pakistan. It's ludicrous when you look at the leadership and Wahhabism of Saudi Arabia. It's ludicrous when you look at the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and how many Muslims there voted in a government that wanted Sharia law, all right, which calls for the killing of people who proclaim that Jesus Christ is Lord publicly and that Muhammad is a false prophet. It's ludicrous to say that 99% of Muslims are peaceful, peace-loving people. Ludicrous, Mr. Obama.
I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years, and sadly we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. Why does a nice guy like me keep getting thrown in jail? I have been arrested almost 50 times and spent over a year of my life locked up in various prison facilities. And I wrote a book, many books. In fact, one of them is called, Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail? It's a theological work, answering those who say that the church should not be involved in politics or that we should retreat. I encourage you to get it. In fact, get one and give it to your pastor.